doing it are doing it exactly for that, because by the time the child is 20 years old, that piece of art, because it's only a one-off, you got the authentication, someone hasn't done a copy print or a copy paste and sold it as a fake. It cannot happen in our world, in the crypto world. So that's the reason why now NFTs will really, in my view, NFTs and DeFi are the thing to watch in this bull run in the next 18 months or so, because that is the cornerstone of what I call big growth. And he wants to ride on the big growth. And Rico, I know, is doing some work on NFTs as well, like we are. It'd be interesting to see what Rico's take is on that. Rico?
So NFT, as we have been talking about the last 2 years now, has been growing very rapidly for the gaming industry. We are launching our own NFTs platform called the Dreams Maker. And it's a more of a gamification platform where we get artists to bring their design and help to bring higher yield to some of the supply chain projects that we bring in from physical world into a virtual world that we built using NFTs and the whole smart contracts around it. We invested in one of the Citadel about 7 months ago. We bought the NFTs for only 30,000. There was only 5 Citadels in the whole game. And 6 months later, we cash out at 800,000 US dollar. So a lot of people do not see that coming. A lot of people do not understand why would someone buy a Citadel NFTs in a game for 800,000. And the next buyer is going to buy that same Citadel for 1.6 million US dollar. So that's where the trend is going, and a lot of people do not understand this. My partner and myself, Dunstan, we have decided to set up a new fund called the Diamond's Hands Fund to look into the gamification market. We'll be the fund manager for NFTs and esports and anything related to the game sector with this fund to invest into them and help our investors to generate, as much as profit as possible together as a whole. So we are very, very into NFTs. We have very, very high expectation of how NFTs is going to grow in the near future. We believe that more and more artists is going to jump into the wagon, putting their artworks, their digital artworks, using NFTs. And the game sector is booming with virtual games, Decentraland, and a lot of games are entering the market. And I think there was an NBA NFTs being sold and broke the highest record of job. So many things are going on in the NFT space. I think a lot of us has to pay a lot more attention to this sector.
Yeah, thanks for that, Rico. Let me just add a little bit to that as well. Maybe an idea for you as well. Is one thing we can't do in art is when a piece of art is sold, a physical piece of art is sold, that's it, the transaction's over, right? In the NFT space, if you are the author, inventor, creator, artist, whatever you are, okay, you can even write in a smart contract that from here on in, whoever sells it, I will carry on earning 2%, for argument's sake, of that piece of art or NFT, whatever it is, okay? So even if it changes hands, like Rico's example of the Citadel selling at 800K, when it sells at 1.6 million, he gets 2% of the 800K as well, all written in smart contract for doing nothing. So in 10 years time, if that sells for 16 million, he gets 2% of the difference straight away. So you can't do that in a piece of art. You will never be able to track and authenticate who the real user, who the real creator, inventor, and whether it's authenticated either. So in the NFT world, why it's going to take off is because you can do such things in an authenticated manner. So that's one of the biggest advantages. Yeah, Rico?
Oh. Yes, absolutely. I think like what we discussed before, the way the architecture of the game is designed makes the NFTs even higher valuable because the smart contract, the whole NFTs can have a lot of functionalities and a lot of uniqueness and characters. It could actually be like a game that we used to play, whether it's Dota, Warcraft or whatsoever. All those characters of a weapon the characteristics, whether it's mana, power, extra source, or whatever, can be programmed into that particular NFTs. That make the NFTs so attractive, and it's up to the innovations of the architecture and the designer in the game. So when we look at a Citadel virtually NFTs, it has a lot of functions because it controls a lot of land around that area within the radius, and it collects a lot of income, and which is why it makes this Citadel NFTs with a lot of value over the time as the game grows. So this is an example, a great example. There is actually an article published on this. I will share with you guys privately, but it's exactly what we were hoping to see is about innovations. Without innovations, the value, the collectivity of NFTs wouldn't grow today. And this is the effort of the whole community.
Yeah, absolutely. And we need to collaborate. Krill, I know you are doing some work on this as well, and I know we talked about this. You need to unmute your microphone, Krill. What's your view and on the NFT market? What are the new game changers, for want of a better word, that you see coming? Because I know you involve a lot in the technology development phase with your NFT and coins and things like that as well.
Yeah, thank you, bro, for
no
asking.
problem. Welcome.
Yes, that is why I do not feedback to you for a long period.
Yeah, not a problem. Don't worry.
Yes, because 90% of my time is spending on the development. And
yeah, I know.
Yes. So actually,
your friend.
Yes. Actually, what we invented in NFT, we just add extra value to decentralized exchange. So if you buy any token, now will be very popular. Not IEO, not ICO. It will be popular IDO, initial DEX offering. Any project could list their token and put like a round of investment, go crowd. And they could add NFT tool as a promotion tool. For example, I have special NFT card from, I don't know, XYZ project. And if you buy my token, it gives you extra value in mining or whatever. So this is one trend which we personally invented. If you look through global trends, it will be the all use cases which for getting involved in real business. For example, how to prove that your Louis Vuitton bag is pure. It's not a copy paste. So you could track owners via NFT. For example, I am the owner of Louis Vuitton bag. I send you NFT card and sell the Louis Vuitton bag to you, and now you're an owner. And through the whole traction on blockchain, you will check that first card exactly comes from Louis Vuitton originally, and there is no any value. Even if you copy in China, copy some QR code, it's still shown that some guy owner of this Louis Vuitton, not me, not you, the guy who physically have NFT. This is the huge niche for real use cases, because there are a lot of business right now who do original check if it's fake or not in real fashion market, because they spent tons of million of goods, they cut all goods if they are fake, etc., etc. This is one use cases. And now the hype of use cases, as some of the guys mentioned, it's in gaming. Gaming is the huge niche. It's $1 billion niche market, just integrating your real-time game, and you never lose the extra coupons or whatever. It will be just decentralized and NFT. And third trend, which somebody tried to implement, it's to have a kind of how to say ownership of something. For example, I am video creator, so I could tokenize my art. For example, my something, I don't know, my music or my video track, whatever. And the owner of those token, for example, exclusive, only he could use it. And if anybody try to steal my production, it's you should prove if it's your or not. So it's like originally based. And for artists, now it's very popular just to create digital art and sell it for couple Ethereum, so more. Yes,
yeah.
it's the simple,
Great.
simple
Thank
way.
you.
Yes.
Krill, you mentioned an interesting use case there, and I came across someone who, what he wants to do is, you mentioned Louis Vuitton, but I know someone else who's doing it for another brand. I can't say it, but what they are doing is they're creating for every product which is expensive, it could be bags, shoes, whatever, they're going to give you a digital version of the authentication certificate.
Exactly.
So with the product, you also get that. So whenever someone challenges it, if you don't have that, that means you've got a fake. And you can easily scan it and say, yep, that is proof. So that's a fantastic use case. So yeah, thank you for jogging our mind.
Yeah, yes.
Now we have, yeah, thank you. So we have Arson and George. George, we can't see you.
Yes.
And you are muted.
Join us. Coming out from
And
the
you're muted.
club, coming to this house.
George, are you? If you're with us, unmute and let's see you. And let's move to Arson. So Arson, do you want to add to that, or can I move to the markets with you because you're more fintechy, right?
Well, I think I'll be best fit to answer market.
Hi guys.
Hey, George. Hola, obrigada
Yes,
for
I'm-
being with us. Obrigada for being with us. Eh?
Yes, I am
Hey,
here,
George.
but I'm actually running a coax Zoom as well, where Kirill is also there. But Kirill managed to get out, but I'm still managing that room. But he's still there in visible.
You're doing
But
two Zooms. You're doing two Zooms.
no, I delegated the management to somebody else, so now I'm 100% with you
George,
guys.
I just push some audience to your room in Clubhouse.
Yeah, no, the room continues. I'm not there anymore. I'm still there, but somebody else is managing. Maybe next time I'll get Sergey to join as well.
George, you do what you do best. You bring them together and go off, move on to the next. Good network.
No, it's okay. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Welcome, buddy. So let's move. We've just talked about NFTs, and I think we've done that topic enough. Let's move to the markets. What views are, and some of us old guys, Rico, me, we've trashed this one many times. But can I share my screen? I've just done a screen today,
Sure.
5-10 minutes ago before we started. Can the guys see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay.
Your
So
Google
let's
searches.
let's go to the market. Sorry, it's a big mess, my laptop, as you would expect. So I just did this diagram, and carrying on as we do last week, it'd be interesting to see what you guys think. Arson first. Bitcoin. So last week, 2 weeks before, beginning of January, Rico, myself were calling what would be the support, what would be the resistance, where do we see the market in the next few weeks till the end of the quarter, end of the year. And I was just drawing this based on some of our talks. So I saw a resistance around the 45, 46K mark, which has just happened, I think. And we kind of like bouncing back from that now as it develops some sort of a support based on that peak on the left over here. So I see now we are playing around the 48K, 49K mark. I'd like to know your views, Arson. Do you see it going back, or do you see that if it breaks the resistance around the 50K, will it then go into the bull run again because it's had that correction, pullback, profiteering, whatever people call it? We've been through that. Do you see that as temporary, or do we find that there's a new support being developed? So it'd be interesting to see your views on that.
I do think that there is real support at around 50K currently. After
Not support, resistance.
Resistance, yeah, sorry. So when the crash started, again, we're a retail product, right? So all our users are pretty much like, most of them are really holders. And what I saw through the crash is that most of our user base, like, I can't give percentages, but it was quite high. They just ended up buying crypto rather than selling out of fear. And then we keep checking every day the stats, and we see that users are more willing to buy even at these prices. So they've continuously bought during the crash, and they still keep buying.
So would you call that a crash, or would you call it correction, or what would you call it?
Depends if you're a newbie or not. I would call it more of a correction rather than anything else.
Yeah,
Um,
correct. Yeah, I would call it correction. I think most of us would call it corrections as well. Okay. So do you see now that again from your user base?
And actually, Maru, I just wanted to let you know the
I'll
correction
come to
makes
you as
sense
well.
because
I'm coming to you. Don't worry.
no, I just want to make a quick point, very fast
Okay.
point.
Go for
See,
it.
when Elon Musk made his tweet, the thing went up by 7 to 10K.
Yeah.
So 7 to 10K is purely artificial. It's not based
Correct.
on any fundamentals other than
Correct.
a tweet.
Correct. And I want your view because congratulations on Nimbus. I want your view from that angle as well. So, Arsen, before I finish, so do you see now from your client base that people are still buying on the dip and hodling, or do you find they are trading more?
Both. But what we've seen is either they go from the altcoins back to crypto, back to Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, yeah.
Yeah. Or they just buy with whatever fiat they have. But the majority of the transactions again go to Bitcoin. So either our user base will go from altcoins to Bitcoin, or they'll go from fiat to Bitcoin through the crash.
So there's more funds coming in. Is that what you're saying as well? Yeah. Okay, so more funds coming in. Is that because growth of new users, or is it because existing users are finding more funds to enter the market?
I would say it's a mix, because obviously our user base is always active, and once you've acquired a good customer and provide good service, they'll keep buying from you. But as well, new users, we've seen a huge decrease in customer acquisition. Like when last year it was costing us 20-30 pounds for a customer, now we pay about 6-7 pounds. So obviously it's a lot easier to acquire a customer, which means people are more willing to invest straight away.
Okay, great. So what was the name of your company again, Arsen?
It's Tap Global, so you can.
Okay, just giving you a free plug. Okay, yeah. George. Georgie, my friend, nice to see you, buddy. So first of all,
pleasure to be here.
First of all, I hear you're now CEO of Nimbus.
I don't know. It's a work in progress. I'll leave it at that. I'm working with Rico on this, but it's still work in progress.
Still work in progress. See, the news was broken over here, bro.
I really love this point.
There's always people
George,
jumping the gun.
Has announced it. I'm sorry you have to be in that position.
It was already dropped on there.
I'm not going to be CEO of Nimbus at all. Okay, nothing to do with me.
There's always people jumping the gun on news, but yes.
Anyway,
you can say that I am assisting them.
I wanted to know straight from the horse's mouth, bro. Anyway, your view. I mean, you do a lot of obviously trading, arbitrage, bot trading, AI-based trading, etc. Where do you see the signals and the indicators pointing to currently on Bitcoin? Let's not go into the altcoins because I think Bitcoin still drives a lot of the altcoins in correlation wise. So I've said there is a support, a stronger support now developing around the 45, even after this drop. I call it a correction, by the way. So from that correction, I still see a 46. In previous calls, I think Rico and me, we had this thing. I said 46. Rico was going 35 to even 25 or something.
No. I said 46. If
it goes below 46, yeah,
we were looking at 3-4 to 24.
And it went below 46, by the way. Did you see it went to 44?
Yes,
right?
But you can see it was pushing
the support
back
is
up.
there. That's what I said. So the support is now establishing, right? So even though it dropped from 46 to 44, I think the support is getting even more solid now at the 46 mark. You know, so I still think that there is now a stronger support where even if another Bill Gates, whoever it might be, say, I'm putting another billion, or MicroStrategy or whoever, actually MicroStrategy has already said they're putting another billion. So where do you see the next signals coming to what support and what resistance for Bitcoin?
It's the question for me.
Yes,
Yes.
it's your
Okay.
Nimbus hat.
Well,
Your Nimbus hat
I
on.
do believe there is. I do believe there is enough institutional demand to continue an upswing, but it will be not dramatic upswing because these people are intelligent and they buy in trenches. So that really means that the institutional investors that came are buying more than the Bitcoin that is being produced, because 450 or so are being produced, they're buying more. So that really means the price will have upwards tendencies. But I think these people are intelligent enough not to buy all in one chunk. So those upward tendencies will be very masked and they'll be muted to some extent. But yes, you can say that somewhere between 40 and 50, it's probably a realistic immediate goal. But in the future, it could go up another 10, and the second,
what do you mean by
as we
future?
get closer to the median.
Yeah,
In the next 6 months, by mid-year or so.
You think it will go to over 50 in just 6 months?
6 months or so, yes. I do. There is a good possibility for it to go between 50 and 100, so probably this in the 60, 75 range by the end of the year. Many people are saying 100, 200, 500, whatever, all these crazy numbers, but those are not based on any solid foundation.
Okay, so whilst we are talking predictions, let's get to the predictions bit. So
this is not financial advice.
And this is not financial advice. We always say that. Do your own due diligence, correct. Not financial advice.
This is
right
not, this is a guess.
The whole show is about that. Yeah, this is
my
the whole
AI
show is
chip
about that.
told me.
Yeah. Anyway, even AI chips don't work for doing predictions.
They can predict for 3 days. In crypto, they're accurate 3 days, but beyond 3 days, they drop below 50% accuracy.
Yeah, exactly. So again, so based on some of the support and resistance, I see this line really, going to, let's see, okay? So if you see where the trends are now, it's pretty steep. Can it continue doing this? That's the question. Can it continue doing this, right? Of course, life is not like that. We've seen it during the .com days, etc. But I see it going up and down, but still going up. We're in a bull run. And I think Rico and me, we were on par to say that we will hit a good part of 70, 75K within this quarter. In fact, we said, I think I said 55K before end of Q1. 55K before end of Q1. So before the end of this month, I'm still sticking with that 55K, but before Q2, we are around the 75K, and then we will see a bigger bull run. So we were over the, as you said, the crazy ones. We were in the 120 to 150 mark for the end of the year. Where's the justification in that? I think number of ways. The banks printing money, the crypto market now finding lots of use cases. They're fed up of middlemen, and they're fed up of going through traditional fiat ways to even buy NFTs. So the use case is growing, the demand and supply is out of kilter, and a lot of the big institutions, as you've pointed out, also going through. So where do you see that now, Rico, based on what George has called, where do you see it now, Rico? You still hold or adjustments?
So I still hold with what we said earlier on. We saw a super trend of Bitcoin growth over the last couple of months. I don't think any of us has seen something like this before. It's not sustainable because of the whole hype by the financial institutions. Keep pushing the price up from 32 grand to around 40 grand just because of what George said earlier. Just a tweet, push up around 7,000 to 8,000 based on what, And that happened between 32,000 to 40,000 mark, and the rest was just financial institution continue to FOMO and pumping it up. At 58,000, I think that's quite high, and you see a short drop on the graph as Guru is pointing out here, and that's when we were saying, look, the correction to be back from. If you look at what we talked about, Guru and all of us in September, we're looking at around 24 to 28,000 range back then. My position is still the same. The correction has to happen to back to around 20 over 1,000 range, because I think that's where the correction price should be. But besides that, I mean, we all know that's all about all this FOMO going on, and for us, it doesn't make sense to push the price up based on what. Looking at the liquidity into the pool, yes, you have some billionaires buying in, but you have a lot of whales also catching up. So I think a lot of things are happening in the dark pool, which public people are not aware of in all the major exchanges. We run our own OTC, so we roughly know what's going on in the market. We foresee that this trend is still a bullish year for us in the crypto space. We were looking at a correction first before it hit back up to around 130,000 mark this year. But it all depends on how the financial institutions are playing with the crypto and how the regulators are responding to Bitcoin, and how are they going to stop it from getting adopted. So I think there are a lot of challenges ahead of us in the space in terms of taxation. Our friend in Russia is still having a problem keeping crypto wallets, and India's a lot of question mark about it. Those are the challenges that will still be there. I believe this year it will still be there. It will take time to get cleared or may not be cleared. So I believe that yes, we are in a bullish year for the next 1 year or 2 years. But I believe that this year, after March and this last whole month, there'll be a huge fight between the financial institution and the whales in terms of how the price trend should go. My personal opinion, this is not FA, that you should dip to around 40 below 46K for sure. It's just a matter of time we will get there. I'm not sure we can maintain a 55K group, because depends how much liquidity that the financial institutions are willing to dump in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, you cover a very interesting point on liquidity and the whales and all that, and the dark pool and OTC types of trading. On that, I want to question George, because George sees a lot of this as well. What's the reality? And Rico's laughing. I think he sees where my question is going. Georgie boy, I mean, you're involved with some big guys there, as we all are. Where do you see some of the big dark pool money going? Now, without naming names, one of our mutual friends had a publicity stunt of 4 billion going into crypto as one of the biggest in history. So what's the reality of that? And do you think something like that, if it happens, that, well, we know if something like that is real and some whale tracers see it, that someone has bought, even if it's in small chunks of 100 million, 200 million at a time, that will move the market. 4 billion is a big number. Even Musk didn't do that. You know who I'm talking about and what I'm talking about.
Our mutual friend is actually now visiting Miami as we speak, and meeting with the mayor.
I know. Yeah, I know.
So once that meeting is finished, I'll be happy to update. It is real. So, okay. But you have to use the words that he used. He pledged that amount. He did not donate that amount. There's a big difference between the two words.
Yes.
However, Khurram is an extremely astute businessman with the right. Correct. So it's news. I mean, it's public news. So and he knows what he's doing. So he's on the right direction, and that in itself will create another bull run, because the point is that the city of Miami is very similar to the way Dubai is now collecting some of the fees in Bitcoin. City of Miami wants to use Bitcoin through its treasury for some of its activities. So that in itself, you have to say that if this is one city out of many others, even if only 5% or 2% of the cities assume this, it will create a huge demand.
No, absolutely. And that's why I asked it, because it's big numbers, big cities, and big investment whales or governments coming together to adopt. So it's all about use case and momentum of adoptability. So if Miami does it, so if Miami does it, Austin does it, San Francisco does it, I mean, that's a huge number. And that's why I feel if there's reality in this, that's why I feel the 150 by the end of the year is not a problem. It really isn't a problem. Okay.
I agree with you. If there is 2 or 3 more
real.
News,
if it's real,
if there's 2 or 3 more news similar to the Elon Musk MicroStrategy, City of Miami, similar in size.
No, sorry, George. Elon Musk MicroStrategy, totally different to what's happening with Miami and Purim, because this is a business now. This is a business, not personal investment. And this is also to do with government collecting and rubber stamping.
Government, it's government using this in the treasury. That's my point.
Major.
So it's on a different scale.
It is a real rubber stamp. This is not a MicroStrategy, Elon Musk saying, I'll buy and I hold, or I'll do this and it's lovely and wonderful. This is
not a tweet. This is not a tweet.
Exactly. This is real. And that's why, if it's real, that's why I wanted to address it with you. If it's real, 150 is not a problem, because the snowball effect of adoption at a government level to adopt Bitcoin, Ethereum, whichever one he chooses, it'll probably be a mix anyway, then it's huge. Adoptability, Austin, San Francisco, just look at those economies. London will start, 100% sure. Singapore will start, Hong Kong will start, Japan, Tokyo will start, and away we go. That's my view.
No, I do believe the opportunity. I believe the opportunity is there for this to happen. We're still early in the game, but if it does happen, the first bricks have been laid, you can say, for building a foundation. So once it gets rolling, you will not be able to stop it.
No, absolutely. But do you think, you're closer to it, that's why I'm asking you more, because this is a real game changer, right? Do you think the success rate of this thing happening, I know you say the meeting's happening now, and I saw that on his post as well. Do you think the success of that happening is more than 80, 90%?
I would say at least above 50. So that means even 60%. That means it's in the right direction. Okay, let me maybe rephrase it in a different, let me rephrase it even in a different context. Even if only 10% of this happens, it's big enough to be substantial.
No, but 10% means it's another bloody FOMO. Sorry, it's another FOMO news. It needs to be
no. What I mean, 10% of the total amount. No, I'm really serious. Even,
yes. Okay. 10% of the amount. Okay.
Yes.
400 million is still a number. Yeah. It's still a number.
Yes.
But the question was not about
400 million is not. It's not peanuts. George, I mean, it's a substantial infrastructure project.
My question was not about the percentage of the number. My question was about the success of the government adopting this to happen. Do you think the government will adopt this?
No. See, the government will adopt. That's already a given. The question is to what extent the government will adopt. That's a different story. The government will adopt. That's already stated as a fact. But there's always a difference in America between somebody making a statement and it rolling out through the
2 years.
Through the you can say the operational side.
Yeah.
And that takes 1 year, 2 years.
2 years. 2 years. We've both worked
1 or 2 years. It's not 1 week. It will take 1 or 2 years.
No, it's only 1 or 2 years. But but at least the willingness is there for government to look at it. And
No,
I
no,
hope the
and that's what I
bloody,
meant.
yeah,
That
I hope the
like
feds
out
don't
of the
stop
total
this.
amount, if 10% starts to roll out, that's
Yeah,
good
it's
enough for me.
fantastic news. It's fantastic. You need another 10%, Austin, San Francisco, away you go worldwide. That's all you need. Thanks for that input, George. Arson, in coming back to you, I've got something here, question for you. In terms of fintech, okay, we all know, and by the way, we are all in the fintech business as well, okay? And do send me an ad on LinkedIn. So in terms of fintech, we all know why we exist. Coming back to the government discussion, we know that the banks, you know, the old days of how they take your money, swift transfers, and takes 2, 3, 4, 5 days in the 70s type of technology to what's happening now and the expectation of what happens and how money transfers. So do you think now with a lot of these fintechs, a lot of wallets, a lot of exchanges, do you think now that the government needs to either come in and play ball, or they will be eradicated, especially when it comes to bodies that are blocking some of this or protecting everything around banks and central banks and things like that. In Gibraltar, I know the jurisdiction is quite nice. That's why I'm asking you about this.
Oh,
This is happening, by the way. I mean, you've been
Yeah, it is.
posting
It is,
some
but
news. You've been posting
yeah.
some news about Ripple. There is actually two Ripple. They're not the same. One
Yes.
is Ripple, the token that gets used and goes up and down. And there's Ripple, the company,
Yes.
which actually as a replacement for the SWIFT system. I know the guy
Yes.
who's been going around is from India, very nice guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have adopted 100 banks. Once you reach a certain number of banks, that's it.
They've got to do it.
That means that
Yeah,
you
I mean,
cannot stop it anymore.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, you saw my video. You know, I talk about exactly that nostro vostro related issues where I really do see, and a lot of people don't agree with me, that Ripple could be the cross-border digital currency with a 0.00 5 zeros and a 3 cent to do transactions. It takes up less energy. It is that much faster in transactions per second. La 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 la. So it's already doing it with 100 plus banks, a lot of central banks looking at it as well. So it's going to happen. What I was asking Arson is, in Gibraltar with the jurisdiction, you need 1 or 2 countries to say, you know what, we're actually going to do it and make it into part of our central banking system as a technology, rather than, okay, we have all these CBDCs happening, but I want to see where Gibraltar is going as well from a fintech point of view.
Obviously, they're one of the most innovative.
Yes, they are. That's why I'm asking you. Yeah.
They did the same thing with gaming back in the days, or back
Correct.
in
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know it from the 80s. Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So obviously, they will be there will be more integrations within their government as well. Like the GFSC as well is always talking with the local banks as well. We have some of the most crypto-friendly banks in Gibraltar too. But I think being a government, you should always also have like some caution before making any moves. So I think for now, governments will not throw themselves in Bitcoin just because of FOMO. They'll wait and sit out how everyone else reacts. Obviously, once the first one steps in, then and other governments check what's going on, then we'll see some more adoption in terms of governments either accepting Bitcoin for taxes, which some countries already do, or enforcing some sort like another avenue of payments. So let's say they give the okay to local shops to accept cryptocurrencies, even though currently they can do if they want to, or try to help with innovation as well. So whether that comes from regulation, funding as well, government funding. But I think we're a bit far away from this to happen.
Yeah. But it needs 1 or 2 what I call tax efficient jurisdictions like Gibraltar to do that. And it's a shame, you know, UK, even though now it's out of Brexit, and I hope they do something now that they've made that call. They've gone around and created all these tax havens around the world centuries ago, Gibraltar's and Panama's and Caribbeans and all these places. They went and created the Seychelles, the Mauritius and all that, yet they're not doing it themselves as an island, right? So it'll be interesting to see what happens in UK. That's the one I'm watching very closely, because if that happens, I think the whole fintech industry will explode, will really go well. So I'm watching that. Thanks for that. Kirill, let's bring you in here. Kirill, unmute. Kirill, in terms of development and technology, what you guys are doing, you're doing some really innovative stuff in terms of helping the community into a full ecosystem. Can you explain a little bit about what you're doing in the fintech space to enable, I guess, more adoption? Because currently it needs more adoption to make the ball roll faster.
Yes, thank you for such good questions. So actually our key strategy is to build easy to use platform for Arabic countries and make an easy way for any guy, lady or man to involve in crypto fintech. So you could just download the app, connect your local bank wallet. It could be Bahrain Bank, it could be Abu Dhabi or whatever bank in MENA region. And you just swipe right and you buy Bitcoin. You just swipe up right and you invest in strategy of DeFi. It could be different, low risk strategy, middle risk strategy, high-end strategy. So swipe left and you withdraw funds. On back end, we do the technical stuff. We do strategy, we do connection with smart contracts, we do due diligence of the project, etc. For top guys, this is like end customer product, which we already have and which we'll plan to obtain in the MENA region. For top funds,
and this is a DeFi, that's a DeFi PSD2 type of a wallet. Is that what you're talking about?
Exactly. So you just have simple exchange wallet, and inside it will be integrated different DeFi strategy. Okay. So we integrate compound, yield farming solution, we integrate, etc., etc. For top funds, for top institution companies, for example, we have discussion with China, with US, with MENA region funds who have huge amount of money, and they put in different pockets. They put in bonds, S&P 500, etc. And just to understand it, average profit for them per year, it's around 12%, 20%, whatever. What we build for them, it's a tool. Technically, they have license, they have money, but they need more profit. And if we connect legal, if we connect local guys with technology, and we build technology mostly, so it will be easy to use tool for all of us. So, for example, you are not technical guy, you doesn't know what is MetaMask, you doesn't know how to buy crypto, so it's long route to go and to succeed the profit. If you just invest as a family office your money and give you to fund which you already know like 20 years, because it goes to your future retirement, and if those family office just integrate extra solution, for example, 10% of your fund goes to DeFi, and on backend we build the logic.
Okay. So you providing the wallet, and or with this, sorry to say it, Tinder style swipe left, swipe right app, but the backend you integrate with any banking PSD2 type of interface.
Exactly.
It's a PSD2 type of interface, right? As long as they've got PSD2 interfaces, right? Into the bank.
It could be those one. It could be like through API integration. It really depends
Okay.
how deep you want to go.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, there are already standards for it. Why would you want to do more
Yes,
APIs?
exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
So okay, and the app itself is your app, and it's your integration work, and you sell it to the MENA region, and it's yeah, it sounds like something that can help with user case because it's the omni-channel. We have an omni-channel app as well, but yeah, but it needs a lot of us to do this sort of things, and it's good to hear that. Rico, sorry, Kirill. I want to see what Rico is saying because in the Asian market, I know, having got various multi-chain, on-chain, off-chain types of wallets, there are so many technologies that does this PSD2 types of wallet, onboarding all your accounts, onboarding all your cards. We have our own in Flash Wallet, by the way. We'll onboard that. We'll have our own, smart card, which will onboard all your cards onto one card. So the need for people to have multiple cards, multiple sign-on are going. We've got that in 2 months. We will be launching that as well. But in Asia as well, what I've seen is they've been doing this in China specifically for small micro payments with just a phone, no need for even a card these days. So they are looking at things like this with wallets for just crypto, fiat crypto on the fly. Rico, what's cutting edge that's happening out there? What's cutting edge?
Well, the cutting edge now is moving out of wallet. It's moving into face scan, bio thumbprint because of the whole COVID thing. Well, app payment, wallet payment is a trend now, and it's regardless of age. We used to think that only old people will use card and touch NFC and whatnot, but we realized that no, they will download the app. Most of the people use a smartphone nowadays, and transaction can be done. And they were forced to do it because to avoid the contactless sort of situation in the middle of the pandemic. To buy online, you need to buy online and you need to do e-banking or you need to do a wallet transaction to make the payment. So a lot of children taught their parents, grandparents to use this in Southeast Asia, and it's very user friendly. Even the banks are coming out with sort of scanning QR code and becoming like what we see in China, in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I think that the trend is growing rapidly. I mean, in the past, we walked to most of the shops. There's no QR code for you to scan. You just go and tap and do NFC and that's it. But the trend has changed.
So are you saying wallets? Are you saying wallets are going and you create your wallet, but you scan your face, and then no matter where you go, you can choose how you want to pay to it without doing this tap stuff. You just go on your phone and say, I want to pay with this card or this bank account, and they will see the face and take the payment.
The scan facing thing is already happening in China.
China, yeah, I know. I saw something like that.
A lot of shops are adopting that. There's no staff anymore. Everything is sensor-based, IoT-based, face recognition. Even autonomous vehicle. When you enter a taxi or a Uber-ish sort of DD driver, the car has a face scan at the door so that you will be, you are verified as the passenger to enter the car. This sort of application is getting more and more common in China already.
Fantastic.
And I think that this is where the technology went to next level, where people can trust to give their face out.
Well, in a country like China, it's easy.
And to be stored in a centralized database. It's a centralized database storing all your faces
that's the downside
and description.
to it. Yeah, that's the downside. In China, you can do it. Other parts of the world, I'm not sure.
And I think the same things goes with our iPhone, which has a face scan. Which is also storing our face. But look, it's convenient. The keyword is convenient.
Of course.
And it's for the safety purpose now. The adoption rate shot up so much, especially in China after the pandemic. I believe this is a trend, which is why most of the banks are moving into wallet systems. And they are definitely moving to digital currencies, and they see the benefit of it, adopting it. Doesn't mean that they will use blockchain in the solutions, but making the money digital is already a benefit to the banks.
Yeah, yeah. Great. Okay, my last round of questions, my hobby horse, XRP. So we started with that. Here's my view. So I think it's going to be some sort of a court settlement. There's lots of, I guess, evidence that SEC did not guide Ripple, for that matter, even some of the companies that Ripple was doing business with, like the MoneyGrams of the world, and said, it's okay, carry on. You can list your coins. Same with the exchanges. It said, yep, you can list Ripple. It's not a security. To now doing a U-turn from just 1-2 years ago, they were doing that. So I have a view on why it's happening. I've done a whole YouTube video. Just go and look it up. But I'd like to hear your guys' view. So let's start with Sergey. I want to hear Sergey's view. From a user point, what do you make out of all this noise, Sergey? You can unmute yourself. What do you make out of all this noise on Ripple? And I think there's an impact not only on Ripple, but it's also an impact on the rest of the crypto world as well, what comes out of this court case. So it's not just a Ripple thing, and that's why I'm even more interested on it, because there are a lot of coins that will be questioned and pulled up, and we could see a lot of consolidation or real crashes coming in the crypto market on how this thing turns out, okay, on a lot of the coins. So how do you see it? You talk to a lot of people. How do you see the court case? If you want to comment.
Look, first of all, I do not know what's happening with Ripple. Sorry for that, but really, I don't have a look on that coin, because for the people which are being engaged in crypto space, for them, this kind of currency, this kind of crypto do not exist as decentralized stuff happening around. That's why it's out of my interest. But what I see around, for example, information coming out from United States, and they are trying as SEC, we're talking in perspective on behalf of SEC, they are trying to somehow interact or interrupt this money transferring around the globe with using somehow or something called crypto. In my point of view, they are just in compromise with that business which already has banks, and it's very competitor is going to reduce all that fees, all the prices for changing money from one country to another, from one bank to another. All of them has the opportunity to make money from them, but now that opportunity has been closed. Yes, because of technologies, they are doing that business for now, but in my point of view, that governments trying to somehow minoritize that information and trying to make it disabled, for example, for time. We see that for now, for this moment, people, I'm talking about P2P changes. I can send you Bitcoin, you can send it back, I can send it via another token, it's okay for us. But when it concerns and when it relates to the bank system, now it not appears yet, and not all the banks around the globe already has discussion done between each other. That's why I see the right point where SEC coming into and say, stop here, please, we do not have discussed it yet, and you do not have a possibility to speculate on this. And that's why, and I see it's just a point to push the people out of these procedures and trying to make them happen by themselves. In my point of view, that's the reason why now XRP goes in that another. We see the huge potential as speculators, as people who are going inside there, we see huge potential for the raise this up. But other governmental, they have their own business, and we're going to have new kind of competitors. And now we're going to choose which competitors is good one. For sure, XRP is the best one, but governments are going to regulate one, and they are going to explain to all the humanity that, look, it's not safe, you have risk, you have so all that blah, blah, blah stuff we have heard at least hundreds of the years. That's why for me it's ununderstandable. I don't know.
Let me explain. What goes on behind that, okay? So I mentioned very briefly earlier, banks for the last so many decades have this system called Nostro and Vostro, okay? What that means is when Japan, or where's Rico with his bank account in the billions, in Malaysia, when Rico wants to send money from Malaysia to my account in UK, it goes through all these stepping stone clearing banks, okay? And what happens is it has this Nostro account that sits between Malaysia and the end bank, central banks, okay? So Malaysia, UK, each one through central bank says, I will put 1 trillion in and you use it for cross-border transactions, okay? Usually takes a day to happen via the SWIFT system, which is at least 4 decades old that I can remember, okay? Very old system, takes time, too many hops, too expensive, too energy consuming, too many banks, too many middlemen to handle it. However, in reality, what happens is, so Maru Patel's bank says, here's that 1 million Rico send you, take it now. And what they do is the next day when it hits the Nostro account, the wire actually reaches it, my bank will go and pull it back from the Nostro account and give it back. But to you, it's seen as instant. What Ripple does is it breaks it down to less than 4 seconds at a cost of 0.000003 cents, 503 cents, and it's instant. So why can that not be the central currency? So SWIFT, central banks, all these Nostro, and do you know how much money is in the Nostro account? Nearly 30 trillion. 30 trillion sits in there. Imagine if even 10% is used for sensible, sensitive things. Why should money sit around do nothing? 30 trillion is no small money. It will bail most parts of the world out from debt. Okay, so it'd be interesting to see. Rico, what's your view on the impact of this, and where do you think it will come or go or finish up?
I would say the impact will come pretty slowly over the time. This will actually change the way people behave and use the technology. But I would say that this adoption and education take a long time to come
Yeah,
through.
absolutely.
And it takes another event like COVID-19 to increase the adoption rate by that much, if that is. But
COVID has absolutely helped.
Definitely help in that sense,
Yeah, absolutely.
but it doesn't help in the economy and other things. So
yes,
people are spending, but they may be spending lesser, and they'll be more careful in what they're spending because of this whole economy crisis affecting them. And this economy, meltdown might take another few years to recover. But having said that, it makes the tech relevant to the lifestyle now. And by having that, we see a lot of new tech companies and unicorns in the next couple of years.
No, that's absolutely right. It's like, if you think about it, the .com days, I remember in the 1990s, mid 1990s at Sun, when we were trying to do that with NFS and IP and all these things, when Sun was creating the .com internet. And it took us at least 5 years to explain to banks, to retail outlets that you will die. 5 more years before a lot of them went bankrupt, a lot of them lost money, things were going online. And now COVID has made them really wake up and say, shit, we are going bankrupt. We need to go online. So it needed a major event. So your point about a major event, I think COVID is the major event. That's why the time is, we are in this sweet spot of this thing taking off. We are really at the sweet spot. I don't think, pandemics come every 100 years. I don't think we'll have another major event like this. I God hope so. We don't have another one like this to make people wake up and saying, it's all about digital transactions, digital currencies.
Let me add something. The same story happening, for example, with Dubai government. I'm talking about the ability to people and give that ability to talk via internet, have voice calls from Dubai and to the Dubai. The same story. Why government somehow restricted and say, oh, we have this kind of service, use this. I don't want it. I have another opportunity, but this, I don't know, creating some higher restrictions, say, whoa, it's very cheap prices. We have to bring this community to the GSM market. Don't do that, don't do that. You know, it's the same story. They are, I don't know, people and technologists
It's covered.
out the business model of them hands and pushing to another, and don't want to let them happen. That's it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
only
It needs government. It needs government to buy into it, and that's why I think CBDC is good, but CBDC is not good as well, based on exactly what you said. Governments will control and see what you do, where you spend it, all that. You know, China's not stupid. That's another way they can control you, not only by face, but exactly what you spend and where you spend it. Georgie, if you're still there, I know you were chit-chatting on the background over there. Georgie, if you're
Yes,
still
I'm
there.
still here. No,
Well,
don't
okay.
worry.
It's getting dark out there. Georgie, what's your view on the whole Ripple thing and impact to the rest of crypto, the outcome of it? What's your view on any of those?
Actually, my view on Ripple stays the same, and I'll mention again. I do not believe that cryptocurrency or your digital token, regardless of what you want to call it, can be of any use or any market-driven token when the creators of this token hold something like 60 or 80% of the tokens. And I think this is the real big issue. The big issue is
Correct.
not Ripple.
That's my
per se.
only issue as well. Absolutely.
That's
my issue as
the
well.
only issue I have. So that
That's the
really
only issue I
means
have.
you have one person controlling what they want to do with that.
Two,
Okay,
yeah.
or two, whatever. It doesn't really
Two
matter.
in their
Either
case,
it's the same.
yeah.
But that itself, I don't think is acceptable to any market-driven
Yeah.
economy. That's simple. The rest, I don't have a problem. But when
Correct.
you have a guy holding 80% of the tokens, I mean, imagine the same thing in Bitcoin. One guy holding 80% of the Bitcoin, and
It's
everybody
not,
else playing around with the remaining 20%,
absolutely.
and then pretending that it's okay.
Yeah. So that, I mean, that's exactly what I say as well. And I've done 3 or 4 videos on this damn topic. It's, the fair thing would be find those two guys, tell
And
them
if they
that
lock,
you've
if they
cost.
lock it, if they lock
No,
it,
not
burn
lock.
it,
I would say
burn it.
give some back to the investors, because you've suppressed the investors' bloody opportunity to go up. So give some back to the opportunity, back to the investors, because they helped you get it to this stage. And they've done that with the Flare and the Spark token already. They did a 1-for-1 dump on that as well, right? Airdrop on that.
Yes.
So they need to do the same thing for Ripple holders, core Ripple holders. If they do that, and with the rest, then either burn it or say, we will use X% for cross-border banking Nostro accounts, for one of better words. If they even put some towards the Nostro accounts, that could make it a cross-border digital
That's what I'm
currency.
saying. If they
That's what could
follow
happen. So give it to a central body,
it's governance. That's it. It's as
that's
simple
it.
as
So
that.
if that happened, that's my take, that if that was the outcome, I think the SEC would do a grand job for the crypto community. Would really do a grand job if that happens. Yeah, good. Arson, any words, anything to add on that front?
Not gonna say much about XRP because again, we are an exchange type of.
So are we. But your opinion, you are willing to have an opinion.
But I do agree with you and Jorge on this. Like, I'm not a fan of XRP.
Okay. Yeah, not many people are. That's the thing. But the concept of what it's doing, are you a fan or not? The concept of what it's doing.
The technology.
Working with banks rather than working against banks.
The technology. I'm fine. The token is my issue.
What I mean.
Yeah, the technology, I'm fine.
Yeah, the token, based on what George, me, Rico, we all say for a long time, it's because of how it's used, manipulated, given out to banks as OTC trades, backhanders, all these things is not nice. Exactly. Kirill, anything to add on that?
For me personally, so I understand how government works. And for example, even if you build application for MENA region, first of all, you need to get license. Next, you need to transfer only those tokens which allowed, like Bitcoin and Ethereum. And regarding the Ripple, so Ripple, it's just software for banking transaction, and XRP is just a token. This is not a combination of one solid solution. That is why the pump of Ripple happened, because every news, for example, Ripple integrated into bank industry of JP Morgan or whatever, it doesn't mean that JP Morgan will use XRP as a token. That's why the Ripple bubble appeared in the market. So once the global company, global government decided to integrate something, so it will be always a war between them. The future of whole cryptocurrency is in decentralized way. So you own your exchange, you own your portfolio, you own your future wealth management, your retirement, etc. And nobody could take it, nobody could stole it or whatever. Everything is decentralized. This is my point of view.
No, it's a good point. Good point. Okay, Sergey, over to you. We've run slightly over time, but this time George was not in a club, so that's good. Sorry, George.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't got your question because I'll be back within a minute just for drinking the water. Now, just repeat it.
So over to you now. You want to wrap up, summarize, close?
I think we have very interesting discussion here today, and I think we have to, if you have any kind of message to our community, because they are very clear, having a look what's happening in the market, and I have your advice. I think third time concerns to the Bitcoin. I clearly understand that it's not investment advice, but it's good view what's happening with the master king of our cryptocurrencies. Guys, thank you for your time. My pleasure to have you on next week, on next Tuesday, on the same place, on the same time, with me, with Mir Patel, with all the guests today. Rico Pang is the resident as well. Kirill, Arsen, if you can, I would like to see you. Also, guys, for today is finished. Thanks a lot. See you next week. Bye.
See you guys.
See you guys.
See you all. See you.
All right.